What's up, y'all? Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're not new to the Anytime Anywhere podcast, where you're liable to hear anything at any given time. And trust that whenever you're listening to this, it's the right time. You are where you're supposed to be in this moment. So thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Jaleesa'Kayla, and yeah, today is Saturday, September the 6th, 2025. It is approximately 10:45 a.m., y'all. So I feel really accomplished and good because if you listen to my previous episodes this week, you will know that, y'all, I threw a whole wrench in the algorithm, like my personal algorithm of being an entrepreneur and on top of that working a regular 9 to 5 job. Well, mine is really not 9 to 5. It could be from as early as 6 to like as late as like 7 or 8. But we're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. The beauty I mentioned in those episodes was just being able to throw a wrench in the algorithm and pretty much my routine, my day to day, and how everything has been going for me as of lately. And just say, yeah, choose me today. Like, there's been other ways that I've chosen myself in my routine, in my day to day life, finding balance between entrepreneurship as well as working a regular job and just fulfilling myself outside of that, right? Like tending to my hobbies and things that I'm interested in creatively. However, it started to become like very, I don't know, like it started to take such a hold on me that I felt like, okay, I'm not having as much peace as I would like to. I'm not having as much fun as I would like to. I'm not enjoying life as much as I would like to. Even down to the smallest things, right? Like, of course, we all dream of being on the beach with a cocktail or a mocktail in our hand, depending on whether you're a drinker or not. Just letting the sun kiss us and, yeah, not having to worry about anything. Pretty much escaping your everyday reality for a peace of mind. And I feel like that shouldn't be so far and few. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't feel like I need to get on a plane in order to enjoy the luxuries of life. I shouldn't feel like I have to run away from, my day to day life in order to feel peace, in order to feel happiness. Like that's the total opposite, right? It should be integrated within the hard work. It should be integrated within doing the things that, I'd rather not do, but I know is best for my growth and transformation in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I was just like, fuck y'all, fuck this. You cool, fuck you, I'm out. Like and I just took 2 personal days. Like I have the free will to do so. So that's what I did. And it put a lot of things into perspective for me and it changed a lot for me within a matter of 48 hours. There was a lot of uncertainty. However, like I said, I still did what I needed to do and wanted to do. And sitting with y'all today, talking to y'all, like I'm just elated with like the changes and the revelations that came to mind throughout this week. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I said, today's Saturday, and today is one of my personal days that I normally always get to myself to spend however I want. And just based on how I spent those days off, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up today. Sometimes I sleep in on Saturdays, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll sleep in later than I normally would throughout the week for sure. However, I'm still getting up early. I'm still going to run errands. I'm still, um, just focusing on how can I stay ahead. What do I need? What does everyone else around me need? Let me go do this. Let me go do that. And today I was like, you know what? I wrote out I organized and wrote out a schedule for myself yesterday evening. And I was like, I'm going to stick to this. I woke up today. Did I stick to it? No, but did I get did I get shit accomplished? Yeah. Like I started out with, of course, prayer. Talking to the Most High, getting my stretching in, freshening up, and then going for a walk. Well, before going for a walk, I don't know if I just said it, but getting my stretching and yoga and stuff in. Now, I still made it. I still, said my prayers. It wasn't as lengthy and as thorough as I would like it to be, but I know that anywhere I am and anywhere I go anything that I'm doing, I can always stop and talk to the Most High, or I can talk to the Most High while I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. So I wasn't worried about that too much. I did acknowledge, I am grateful for today. I am grateful to be able to open up my eyes and just do the things that I want to and need to do for self. So I'm grateful for that. I did not do yoga. I did not stretch. However, I did walk to the park and I did do some running, which has been different for me. Like, I used to be a runner when I was like in elementary and middle school, and then after a while, I just lost it. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, I totally lost the essence for running. Um, wasn't in shape as much as I was when I was younger, and running wasn't fun for me anymore. Like, I would feel like I was about to pass out when I would run. Do any of y'all feel like that? Like, I know what it is and I know what I need to do. However, actually doing it is like, nah, I'm gonna just do some yoga. Like, I could be on the floor and do yoga. It's not as high intense as running. However, it's still effective. I love me a good somatic practice, or, even a core strengthening practice, just all around. I love Pilates. I love all of it. I enjoy all of it. But when it comes to running, baby, who running? Running. Mm. Last running I did was running away from no good people. Like, that I will do. I will run. She's a runner. She's a track star. She gonna run away when it gets hard. Yes, fuck what y'all talking about. Like, I've had so many people. This sidebar, but speaking of running, like, I've had so many people in the past like call themselves calling me out for running. But yes, my dear, yes, I am running. I'm never going to deny that, because I've tried really, really hard in this instance, and you are not who I need you to be, and this situation is not ideal for me. So yes, I need to run. I need to run fast. As soon as you introduced yourself, I was supposed to run. However, like I said, the old me used to do a lot of shit for the plot, so I stuck around and wanted to see what that be like. And once I found out, I was like, oh no, I'm out of here. Sorry, got a blast. Like, I was out. No bullshit. I'm not even joking. And people will try to make you feel bad for that, but it's just like, yeah, I'm not running away from what's good for me. I'm running towards what's good for me. I'm running away from what is not good for me. So you can't make me feel bad about that. You cannot. Um, but anyways, like, I came to the park. I did a couple laps. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some laps. I'm going to, sit. And when I meant laps, I just meant like walking laps. Man, y'all, talking about free will, I used my free will to go on St. Joseph's campus and do some labs over there. And I was just imagining myself being, a student attending the university, and this is what a Saturday morning feels like when you get up and you're determined to push yourself and get things done, and then you feel rejuvenated and all that, such forth and such. Which, listen, y'all, I came across this lady who was walking backwards. And when I saw her, I was like, is she being funny, or is she really like on something? And after I did like a few running laps, I was like, I'm gonna try that. And I started walking backwards, y'all. I can't even describe the energy I felt, or like the essence, the synergy I felt. One, walking backwards, I realized that, my balance is not where I would like it to be. So that will definitely help with balance. It helped like mentally, like with like clarity and just focus and things of that nature. But y'all, the kicker was when I stopped walking backwards, like the path that I was running on, doing laps on, I walked that backwards, right? Once I stopped running, I was like, let me do a lap walking backwards. I walked backwards, and once I stopped and was ready to go forward, y'all, like, I felt so much more powerful. I had so much energy in my legs. Like, y'all, I don't even know how to explain it. But when I was leaving St. Joseph's campus, I ran into the lady who I saw walking backwards, and I had to stop her and just tell her, like, what, she was of Asian descent. So I knew that it was, from something dealing with her culture and what they practice, because I'll see like Asian people like walking with their hands crossed behind their back, and I've heard that's like really good. I've seen them do all types of stuff, and I love like Tai Chi and Kidong and Kichong, however you pronounce it. Forgive me if you're listening and I'm not pronouncing it right. Correct me in the comments. I even took a class on Tai Chi one day, just randomly. This is the type of shit that I do to like push myself and just learn different modalities that'll help with like well being and physical and mental health. So yeah, I'm that girl. But I asked her and she was like, yeah, when I was pregnant, um, they told me that it was a really good, like my doctors told me it would be beneficial. And also in China, you'll see a lot of people walking backwards. And I was like, yeah, I figured that. And I was just like, thank you for putting me on. And she was like, huh? I was like, you put me on. Like when I saw you, and I know you saw me running. She's like, yes, I saw you. I was like, when I saw you walking backwards, I was like, I'm gonna try that. And I tried it, and it was like so beneficial to where I'm gonna start incorporating that in day to day if I can, but definitely when I come to the park and do my laps and walk and run and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh, I'm glad. Like you're welcome." And that was that. But y'all, this is it's a bee near me. Please don't. Please, 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 please get away from me. Y'all, I've been stung by bees twice in my life, and it is not fun. It's a little traumatic. But yeah, so that's something I'm gonna be incorporating. And guess what? If I never used my free will to go on St. Joseph's campus, I would have never seen that lady doing that. So shout out to her. I should have got her name, but that would have been doing too much. I was already disturbing her on her walk, but I just had to like let her know. I had to give props. That's the thing about life. Like when somebody puts you on, pay homage. You know what I'm saying? Give credit where it's due, because you would want that too. So I had to thank her and let her know that she's just by her doing her and being her, she's making such a difference out here in the world. Because I may not have been the only one that's seen that. It was other people running. However, like their campus is right across from my local park, which I was at last week. Talking to y'all when I was talking to y'all about Suicide Awareness Month and everything. And normally I would just walk laps around this park, but over there is so much more peaceful. It's less, I don't know if y'all can hear the kids in the background right now, but it's more peaceful. It's less traffic. It's in the tuck. So that was another thing that had me like more confident in running some laps, because there's less people over there. It's less traffic. Although like once I started running, it seemed like more people came, but it still wasn't as much as over here in the local park, which is where I am right now. Just because I was done running, I was like, okay, it's safe to go over to the regular park now. On top of me being done running my laps, I also came over here because on Saturdays, this park hosts like a farmer's market. And among other things, like I think it's something like with Ethiopian culture today where they're having like food and performances. So I'm just currently watching them set that stuff up right now. I've never seen it before. However, it looks interesting, and I'm plotting on some food low key. Like I just did some laps, and I'm already thinking about food. I'm always thinking about food, y'all. Like who else? Like I don't want to look at it as like a reward, but it's like I mean, girls gotta eat, you know. Um, yeah. But just staying on top of my schedule is my focus today. Once I get done here at the park, I'm gonna go back to the crib and, shower and all of that, do some self care, and then get right into work. I have some researching that I need to do. And then I'm going to tap into one of the projects that I've been working on when it comes to um, herbal medicine and just following that and studying that. Like I've been following herbal medicine for like I want to say since 2000 and like 13, 14 ish. Is when I really started tapping into finding natural remedies and modalities and ways to heal the self, to heal the body, to heal the mind. So yeah, I don't know if I told y'all about the time when I was like looking for good deodorants because I was having like a perspiration issue and an odor issue. No matter how much I changed up my deodorants, no matter how many times a day I like washed and freshened up, like it was still an issue. And the last thing I tried was a clinical degree, I believe it was. Yeah, it was a clinical strength, a proven clinical strength degree deodorant, and the shit just didn't work. And I used my free will. I just love saying that now. I used my free will to actually see what it would be like to call that number on the back. You know that like on a package or with any product, almost any product, they'll have like a number on the back and a website you can go on to or call if you're not satisfied with the product, and they'll reimburse you or whatever it is that they're offering you when you're not happy with the product. Yo, I did that and they really came like to pick up the product, no questions asked. I mean, I did have to answer questions, I think online, but they really sent some man out to pick up the product. He put it in like this little, like, I don't know, Ziploc bag that was like top flight security style, as if he was collecting evidence. And he gave me a check for what the deodorant cost. It was like a little bit more than what I actually paid for the deodorant, I guess, for like fees that would accrue with cashing the check. But yo, I was like, oh my gosh, this shit really works. I was like, this shit really works. But yeah. I was like, once I was done with that, like the shit burnt. No, I was done with that. I had tried natural deodorants before that too. Shit burnt my underarms. It just wasn't working. I was like, you know what? Let me find out a way to naturally detox my underarms and just come up with my own deodorant concoctions. And that's what I've been doing ever since then. Like every now and then I've gone back and forth with regular deodorant. And once that happened, I was like, oh no, this was a bad idea. Let me go back to my natural, recipes. And yeah, y'all, I'm a believer. Like I'm not going back. I know how to heal myself. And it's up and it's stuck. So yeah, I'm gonna go home and start working on that. I'm excited about that. But before I go back home and after I talk to y'all, I'm definitely gonna find or figure out where I can get a smoothie from because I've been craving a smoothie since the last smoothie I had, which was yesterday. And the smoothie before that was like I think Wednesday or Thursday. I had a nice smoothie. It was really good. It was a peanut smoothie. No, actually, it was called Date Night from like my local cafe called Hibiscus. They have really good natural smoothies and good natural meals and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna find a smoothie, and then after that, I'm going to shop around at the farmers market. Um, get myself some flowers. I'm looking for a specific color, but yeah, get myself some flowers and see what like fruits and vegetables they have. Like y'all, they have so many different vendors out here. Like they have clothing vendors, they have food vendors, they have natural cleaning product vendors, they have vendors who sell like things for your pets, and they have like jewelry, they have like waist beads and sneakers and all different types of food outside of whatever like Ethiopian cultural festival they're having today. The farmers market is always out here just about every Saturday. You get you listen. There's a little something of everything. There's one man out here who has his own wine um business, and he makes and creates his own wines, black owned. Listen, the Amish be out here with their like fruits and vegetables and jams and meats and things of that nature. Listen, it's a vibe. It be lit, trying to appreciate and take advantage of the nice days that we have left, just getting outside and doing something meaningful, as well as sticking to my plans and the things that I had, going on for myself and getting outside, being amongst nature, taking walks have really been helping with like my clarity and just, like I said, breaking up the mundane feelings that come with day to day life. Like, it has to be done. It has to be. It's imperative at this point. And I'm kind of sad that we're leaving the summer, but I ain't never been afraid of cold. Like I'll still go out to the trails and things like that when it's cold, y'all. Like I'm that type of person. As long as I have the transportation to, I'm there. Like take me there. But yeah, that's what's going on today. I'm excited to get started on making, or actually to finish researching so that I can get into the practical part of my herbal supplements and things. Um, but yeah, there was one thing, like something that came up for me was, hold on, 'cause I had wrote it down because I was like, I really want to talk to everybody about this. Where did my paper go? Let me see. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So something that came up when I was like doing some reflecting during the middle of the week when I had to walk to the park was like the ego, right? And we all know, or most of us know, and if you don't know, the ego, we all have an ego, right? Whether good or bad, however you describe your ego, we all have an ego. And when I first like was introduced to the whole idea of like your spiritual journey and shadow work and things of that nature, the ego or ego death was something that I would hear a lot, and I was like, well, what the hell is the ego death? Um, and once I learned what that was, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I need to experience. And that's what I've been experiencing. That's why, like, I need, I feel this great urge to, separate myself. And a lot of relationships don't make sense anymore. And a lot of way that I've been living my life doesn't make sense anymore. And this job that I'm working doesn't make sense anymore. And just a whole lot, right? And I had bought into it. Like I was somebody who was like, yeah, yeah, like that's what I'm doing. Like ego death, like fuck the ego, blah 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 blah. Until I came across, some years had passed, and I had done a lot of shadow work, but more thoughts and ideas centered around the ego started to pop up for me. And one of those things was like, okay, yeah, ego death is cool, but your ego, one of the main things that the ego wants to do is keep you safe, right? You want to feel safe, you want to feel secure, you want to feel, how can I say, fulfilled and things of that nature. And depending on the balance you have with your ego determines how you go about obtaining those things. Again, that idea about the pendulum swinging evenly between instinct and impulse. So I had come across some findings when it comes to the ego that you should work more so on integrating your ego and understanding your ego versus like just trying to kill the ego off completely. Because like I said, I was like, oh yeah, like yeah, kill the ego, fuck the ego. Like my ego is what has had me like in the pits most of my life and blah 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 blah. And while that's partially true, again, you there's nothing wrong with your ego. You shouldn't really demonize your ego. And that's what I started like learning and figuring out for self. But something that had came up when it came to me personally in reflection with ego, it's like, damn, I really have been egotistical in my life. Not to like down myself, but just more of so viewing it from an understanding. And I'm just gonna read what I wrote and try to like talk it out to y'all because I didn't like write everything out verbatim. However, um, the ideas, the the theme and the gist of the idea is there, so I'll try to fill in where I need to. But it was like, okay, being egotistical is, I'll read y'all the definition and then get into the ideas and thoughts that I had for myself. It's almost noon, y'all. Okay. Oh wait, that's and I'm saying that because I really wanted to start my day earlier. However, it is what it is, and I'm grateful that I'm here. Wherever I am is where I'm meant to be, and I'm meant to be here right now. So, being egotistical describes someone with an inflated sense of self importance, often believing they are superior to others and focusing on their own needs and desires to the exclusion of others. An egotistical person tends to have an exaggerated view of their own talents, intelligence, or status, leading to behaviors like arrogance, self centeredness, and a lack of consideration for others. Now, when it comes to my own personal experience in being egotistical, I realized that throughout my life, I learned to make everything about me, whether it was good or bad. And when I say that, it's like other people's view on me, other people's um, just quality of life. I centered around me and my purpose, and I allowed it to, de- define me and determine me. So when you're someone, um, and this is not for everyone, and you don't have to agree or be, how can I say it? Not agree. You don't have, oh my goodness, that kid needs some Zyrtec. No, not Zyrtec, some natural remedies for for allergies because they sneezing crazy. But when it comes to um making everything be about me, it was because I grew up thinking that, or realizing that, or maybe not even realizing, because it wasn't always true. I was just made to believe or conditioned to believe that, I can make or break how people around me felt. You know what I'm saying? So I would, make everything be about me, whether good or bad. So, case in point, family members. Mind you, I'm a young little kid. Like, you could be 2, 3, 4, you could be 15, you could be 25, right? So, and this has been all my life. Once I caught on, I was like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Okay, let me, play my part. So, adults around me, if they're happy, it's because of me. If they're not happy, it's because of me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like in that way when kids take on being the reason why their parents divorced, or why things didn't work out or whatever the case is. Kind of like that same feeling and thoughts, right? For those of you who can understand and relate. So if they're not happy, then it's because of me, and I need to figure out what it is that I can do to make them happy. If they are happy, I'm like really like paying attention and being observant. Is it because of me, or is it not because of me? And if they're happy and it's not because of me, now I'm trying to figure out um what can I do to make it be about me? If they're happy and it's not because of me, then in order to feel valuable, to get attention, and to feel worthy of existing in my own eyes and hopefully in theirs, I would go and do X, Y, and Z because I know they love it, or I know they like it, or I know that would ease their load, or whatever the case is. Um, and I would continue to do that until the attention was on me, the focus was on me. I did feel worthy. They did praise me, and did make me feel as though what I was doing was such a great help and I was needed. I was wanted, because outside of doing that, attention, I didn't get attention. I felt more of like a burden. You know what I'm saying? My presence felt more of like a burden, and it didn't make sense for me to be there if I could not be of assistance, or if I could not. And I ain't Superwoman, but I used to feel and think like, okay, I need to come in and save the day, no matter who it is, friends, family, lovers. Like, that is my position. That's what I'm best at. But it's like, is that what you really want to do? Anyway, like I said, I would continue on, and in hopes that, I would just become their everything, because I needed that, to feel worthy, to feel like, okay, I do have a place in this world. Okay, my existence does make sense. And, X, Y, and Z, just all of those things that you shouldn't have to work so hard to feel. You shouldn't have to work super hard to feel valuable or worthy, or to, get attention. You should get that just because you exist, especially as a little kid. I mean, anyone, but especially as a little kid, because it's like, hey, like, I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need attention and all of that for growth and to have a better relationship with myself. Keep that in mind. The relationship with yourself is key. That's what's most important. So, um, I continued on until that became the nature of the relationship and the root of the relationship. So I learned that if I wasn't making people happy, it's 9 times out of 10, this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna feel unfulfilled because I not going out of my way to, do whatever it is I could do to help this person live a better life. And they'll in turn view me as not being worthy of giving time and attention and all that too. So, it's, what I've learned that no one's happy if I don't do X, Y, and Z. And shit, even them being happy was short lived. So I'm constantly on this hamster wheel of, making sure everybody is happy and safe and secure and they have their needs met. And the I had this false belief that, okay, my needs are met because everybody else's needs are met. You know what I'm saying? This false sense of, now I have this false sense of attention. I have this false sense of being valuable. I have this false sense of worthiness because it's rooted in what I can do for someone and how happy, even though we can't make people happy, in hindsight and maturing and learning, you can't make anyone happy. You can, um, how can I say, you can be a part of the reason why someone may experience happiness or peace or joy or love or whatever that is, but you cannot be like the root. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody has that much power, and that's where the ego comes in. At the ego comes in so many different parts in this example, but and then I just became hyper vigilant. Even as a young kid, I just built up that hyper vigilance, like way of living. Any signs of dissatisfaction or disapproval or whatever that people around me and that I loved and cared about or wanted to receive care and love from, if they weren't feeling that, then it wasn't safe. And in order to feel safe and to be seen and to feel heard and to hopefully be considered, loved, and nurtured in return, I'm always on the lookout for signs of like, danger. And that's the instinct. Oh my gosh, my dad is not happy. My dad wasn't pleased with A, B, and C. It made me feel good, but he wasn't pleased. So, I gotta switch that. I can't do that no more. I can't be that. He doesn't want to hear about anything bad that's going on with me. Okay, I know when I talk to him, I can't, mention anything that's going on with me negatively because fuck, like that doesn't make him happy. And his happiness is more important than my happiness. Like I wasn't telling myself that his happiness was more important than mine, but that's pretty much what you're telling yourself. And like, oh, my mom, she needs A, B, and C. Well, and my siblings need A, B, and C. Okay, well, I gotta work really hard and figure out a way to get it and break my back and do whatever. And okay, they're happy now. They're praising me because I figured out a way, and they're thanking me, and maybe I'll get something in return. But at best, just them smiling and saying thank you, and telling and bragging to everybody that I did A, B, and C makes me feel good. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel worthy. Hey, the things that are being put out into the universe or being told to people are positive things and, not negative things this time. And when it comes to lovers, like, oh, I'm going out of my way to prove to them that, I'm not like those girls that they dealt with in the past, not knowing that they had such a huge part in why the relationship did not work. But here comes little old me, trying to prove my worthiness and prove that, prove that I can be a better girl. What Jasmine Sullivan said, if you let me back in. Whole time, I shouldn't be let back in. Like, don't let me back in. Actually, run away from me because you're doing more harm than good in my life right now. And I don't even know. Like, I haven't reached that part yet. But, whatever. Um, yeah, like I learned early on that the relationships that I would have were very transactional. But I was the one getting shortchanged. You know what I'm saying? And if I couldn't show up with any materials outside of just being my loving, empathetic self with my caring heart and a spiritual with a spiritual like energy to myself, you know, then nothing was good enough. It didn't matter what I had to say. It didn't matter what foresight I had. It didn't matter what kind words I had. Could I give financially? Could I give all of myself emotionally till I was depleted? Could I give all my time and attention to, making sure the collective is good, and can I put myself last? It's like going to a job interview and it's like they ask you, can you put yourself last? Like they're not saying it verbatim, but that's what they're insinuating. Like, we need someone who can put themselves last. We need somebody who cares so much about, the team and cares so much about the operations that you just say fuck you to you. And however, a lot of people, use that and think of themselves as a victim in that way. However, there's still a sense of, over time, you build this sense of being manipulative and being controlling, because it's like, hey, my ego wants to feel fulfilled. And I know in order to feel fulfilled, I need you to need me. I need you to want me. I need you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a never ending cycle of that, which isn't cool. So once I, really, like, once the thought came to me and I really started to do some digging and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, like, damn, you can't get off as scot free as you would like to. When when you think back to how you were treated, and like, yes, we a lot of people don't know what they do. However, a lot of people do know what they do, and like I said, I've built this ego since a young child. It's not just gonna dissipate and change overnight and go away. However, I'm proud of myself for being able to you know receive and accept the awareness surrounded around ego. And yeah, you can be egotistical too, um so I just extend that to y'all, that personal life lesson. And I extend to those of you listening to take some time to like really tap in with yourself and see where you may have any similar traits, and any similar life experiences, to where it's like, damn, I've been showing up like this and it's not the best way. Don't demonize yourself for it, but just really um play with the idea of it so that you can start to make changes. If you need to, you can start to make changes within your own life and how you show up in your relationships and things of that nature. What I realized, once I stopped showing, like, I've been pulling back, and just worrying about myself and being all of those things that I try to be for everyone else. Be that for myself. It's gonna feel weird at first. It's going to feel like you're doing something wrong. You're gonna feel like you're betraying people and shit. People may even come to you with that energy, like, oh my gosh, you switched up, like, oh my gosh, you're betraying me, like, oh my gosh, like, you're not who you once were. And it's like, yeah, that's a good thing. If you know that you're doing better in life and working on yourself, and someone says like, yeah, I feel like you changed. Yes, hell fucking yeah. And I say, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, fucking right. You're like, yeah, I've changed. Oh yeah. Like, yes, I have changed, and it's for the better. For me, it may not be what's best for the collective, but honestly, in turn, it is what's best for them, because now they have the chance to learn how to live life without you being that crutch, without you showing up how you've been showing up. um you thought it was the best way, but it's really not the best way. And everyone can take a lesson from it, and everyone can grow from it. You know what I'm saying? If they choose to. That's really up to them. That has nothing to do with you. But, you doing what you need to do for you in that regard is what's best. And it makes sense in the long run. And sometimes you'll see sudden changes for the better, but in the long run, nonetheless, it's what's best for everyone involved. So proud of myself, giving myself a little pat on the back, for coming to that realization and just doing the best I can to change that algorithm. Talking about algorithms. But yeah, I'm about to go get me a smoothie on and enjoy the rest of my Saturday. Um, Comment below if anything, was relatable in this conversation, if something, like sparked ideas and thoughts within your mental and within your personal life. And yeah, how, if you've already started making the change and already started understanding your ego more, what's something else you've learned about integrating your ego and your shadows and things of that nature, and you know, not buying into, oh, kill the ego and ego death. Like, yes, you will go through some ego death, but it's for your ego to, become balanced, not to do away with it. Like, can we do away with our ego altogether? Like, I feel like when I was believing in that and doing with that, I was on this, oh, love and light, and all peace and joy, brothers and sisters. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, that was short lived as well. And once I couldn't maintain that because there were so many things that I still had to go back and um give attention to shadow wise. I felt like a failure. I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't maintain this love and light. Like, I can't just shake everything off and let it roll down my back. There's still things that are bothering me. I realized, like, that's not good either, because you don't want to feel bad about yourself and bad about, the transitions and the levels that comes with growth and realization and change. Like, no, hell no, fuck that. So, you know, I like to be balanced. Like, know that I'm gonna still turn some shit up. However, you know, I have a higher understanding of myself and my journey thus far, and just how I show up and how I want to show up in the future and in the present moment. And it's a balanced state, very much so. Like, it's not so much, oh, fuck y'all, this is what y'all have done to me, or, all these people have used me and left me hanging dry, and blah, 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 blah. And it's not all love and light and peace and rainbows and raspberries and cream and glitter. No, I like to be right in the middle. I really do. So, you know, I'll leave y'all with that, and I hope that this conversation brought enlightenment to someone, and at best maybe you got a chuckle out of it. And I'll ask that you all please comment. Again, I wanna talk to y'all. Like, I want to, build a community. It doesn't have to be super intense. Even if you disagree, just do it respectfully. Give me your perspective on things and how you feel about um the ego and the idea of being egotistical and everything that comes with that, and the different themes surrounded around that. Yeah, don't forget to like and share. Turn on your bell notifications so you don't miss another episode after you've commented. Okay, even if you just comment an emoji, comment, you know, and after you're done doing all of that, be sure to enjoy your Saturday and love yourself always and always. Please remember that. Love yourself and always, even through, the ups and downs, and through understanding yourself and uncovering and learning and relearning and unlearning and relearning and all of that. Love yourself always and always. And I will talk to you guys on my next episode. I'm going to enjoy my Saturday, so you do the same. Mwah! Bye, you guys.